Well, we have with us this morning a deep text. There's so much in it. Do you think, where do you start from? What message do you want to draw out the most, and how do you put it all together? When we see that Jesus has come here to this place, he has this large group of following of people who just, the minute Jesus is anywhere, they need to be with him. They want to hear what he has to say. Word has gotten out about him. And the people are flocking by the thousands just to hear what Jesus has come to say to them. But Jesus has other plans. He has a lesson. And it slips in under the radar because his disciples don't pick up on it. At least not right away. He's sly. And he says to Philip, "Where are we to buy bread for these people to eat?" Now this is a trick question. We know Jesus. We know how he operates. Well, this sends poor Philip into a frazzle. And he says this to test him, but Philip answers, 6 months' wages would not buy enough bread for each of them to even give a little bit. And then he gets to Andrew, and Andrew does a little better. He says, well, this guy's got 5 loaves and 2 fish, but I don't know what we're going to do with those. We got 5,000. So they're all looking at this situation as we do. They're looking at it through human eyes. They're seeing what they see physically in front of them. They cannot see as Jesus sees. They cannot see as God sees. So their vision is limited. They are limited to their humanness. So Jesus says, "Take that bread and bring it over to me." And he took the loaves, he blessed it, and he thanked it just as we do in the Eucharist. And what happens? He not only feeds 5,000 people, but he has 12 baskets of bread left over. And look what he started with. And they are amazed at Jesus. They don't expect anything like this to happen. They don't expect he's capable of this. Because once again, human eyes. Human eyes. But Jesus is beyond their vision. I was reading the story of Ezekiel, and Ezekiel is standing there, and it's the part where he's out there talking with Jesus about the dry bones. And here's a dry bone story. These crumbly old bones that had been laying in the ground and had dust all over them, nothing was on them anymore, had been wildering away in the desert. And what does God say to Ezekiel? He says, Ezekiel, this is the same test now. Ezekiel, can these bones live? Well, Ezekiel doesn't want to say no. He doesn't want to say yes. So he gives the correct answer. He said, Sovereign Lord, you're the only one who knows the answer to that. Only you. And God said, that's correct. And as he lifts the bones up, he connects them back piece by piece by piece by piece, and flesh starts to come upon those bones. But it's just bones with skin standing there. And then God says, do these bones live, Ezekiel? And Ezekiel was looking at them, and they probably looked pretty good at that point, because look what they started at. But they still weren't living. And God said, what must I do? And he took his breath, and he breathed on them, and life came back in again. He could take what was already gone and bring it back to life again. Something that we could never do. When you're gone, you're gone. And as much as I want to bring you back as the pastor, if I was visiting you, there's nothing that I humanly could do. I have to rely upon the power of God. I don't have the abilities. I have the abilities that God has given to me, but I am not God. When we look at this story, when we look at the story of the dry bones, this one here with Philip and Andrew, we realize that we look at our lives through a tunnel vision. We can only see what is right before us, what we can see, what we can smell, what we can taste, what we can touch. That's real to us. But God is so much more than that. God can bring life to anything. He can turn 5 loaves of bread into 5,000 loaves in the blink of an eye. Jesus turned water into wine at a wedding with just pouring it in. What is God capable of? God is capable of more beyond our thoughts and imaginations. But what we do is we limit God. We trust upon ourselves. We trust in our own thinking, our own capabilities, what we can do. We never think, what could God and I do together if I actually put my thoughts into God's thoughts? Boy, if our thoughts were on track, what could we actually do together in this world? We could do a lot. We could do a lot. Because God is so much more than our comprehension. He is so much more than our understanding of things. When we look at this story also, it's a story of abundance. A story where people had, like this little boy, he had more than he needed, but he willingly shared it. As with the children's sermon, so often we have more than we need. People have to rent storage units to put their stuff in them because they have so much stuff they don't know what to do with it. We have stuff in our house, and I think, my goodness, we never use that stuff. It is in our basement. I don't even know what's in the basement anymore. I haven't been down there. The last time my husband was down there was last night getting something out for me. I thought, my goodness, what is all down there? Would I perish if it was lost? Because how can I perish if it's lost if I don't even know what's down there? But we have a lot of things. And what Jesus is trying to get at here is that we have a lot already. We don't recognize what we have. Not only do we not see God's capabilities, but we don't even see what we ourselves already have. We have plenty in our life, but you would never know it. You know, because people go to Walmart and then they pick up things and they think, well, why am I buying that? Well, I might need that at some point. Stick it in the cart. I might need that, stick it in the cart. Then they get home and they think, what am I doing with that? Oh, I'll find use for it sometime. And there it goes into the storage closet or down into the basement or into the attic, and 10 years from now you say, what was I using that for? But that's our habit. We collect things, we hoard them, we bring them in, especially in a time where economics are not good in our country. They're starting to improve, but they're not the best at the moment. So people want to hoard things. They want to hoard them and keep